Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ine. Thank you very much, guys, for the generic and like main lines of work we are conducting in HoliFood. This helps me to bring you to the federated aspects. When we have data from multiple stakeholders, multiple databases in a supply chain setting, or just without any chain of interactions, just data. The more data we have, the more or stakeholders we have, the more we want to bring all this information together. And this will, with the hope, this will help us to have better signals or unique signals. This is our aim, and this is what federated services could provide. This is their promise, and we believe in this. This is a work with in our data science team, and we are closely collaborating with HoliFood partners on finding the best possible setting to enhance capabilities of the HoliFood platform. A brief definition: we want to use multiple data sets. These data sets may be in the same platform. They may be completely out of reach from each other. We want to get more data and diverse data. If a stakeholder has information, data about some event, but the other one doesn't have this data, at the end, both of these stakeholders should acquire this capability of forecasting food safety event, for instance. So therefore, both of these aspects are crucial. Most of the time, and actually this is the idea of federated services or learning, is to build a meta layer in the infrastructure. And this meta layer should be a facilitator of the harmonization and privacy as well, depending on the setting. This is the whole idea, but it has a lot of details based on how private you want the data to be, the modalities of the data, and very promising, so it is worth investigating. Yeah. Here we have a video. We don't have much time to go over it, but for the recording and for you, please watch it. This provides the basic concepts we are implementing. It's called the Food Safety Data Train. And I'm skipping the video. As a first step, as other partners were doing the platform and they were doing like collecting which data sets are available, we went to search for in a systematic way what is available, how people facilitated federated learning, what are the benefits, how should we design it. We define a framework for our definition, so we could conceptualize the possibilities and the gaps. We identified a couple of use cases and the technology stack as well. And I want to provide you this mainly in this talk. Two main classes of settings. It is cross-silo or cross-device. It can be centralized or decentralized based on the configuration you want to employ or the configuration that is allowed by the data owners. Here, the data owners has maybe more rights than traditional settings. And data partitioning, how the data comes to you. Is it from a supply chain, or is it from everybody independent of each other providing you data at the same level, not in the food processing pipeline, I mean. First, I will tell you the difference between cross-silo and the cross-device. As the name describes, the cross-silo is about a couple of companies you can imagine, maybe up to 10 and they have their own data, their databases, and they share the data with the trusted partner. And but not the data actually, the average, for instance, what is the average weight of a crop, for instance. And then the central server with this partial or aggregated information generates models for monitoring trends, for forecasting the risks, for instance. In the cross-device, it is a bit more traditional way of doing federated services, and it is how it started actually. You have many mobile devices, and the central server, for instance, Apple or a communication provider, gather statistics or trains a model for personalization, for instance. We see mostly cross-silo in the food safety domain. I will come to the main conclusions at the end. Mostly it is centralized, but there is configurations that can be decentralized. In this, I just explained the centralized one. In the decentralized one, peers in this system, the data owners, the companies or stakeholders that share the data, communicate the updates to each other. So you don't have a central server. And this sharing is not about the raw data. It is about the statistic or parameters for a machine learning model, parameter values. The data can be partitioned as horizontal. So each sample has the same features, same characteristics defined, age, weight, height, nationality, or for the food domain, you can adapt it. It can be vertical, like in a supply chain. Each sample will have separate different features that are measured in each step of a food processing pipeline, for instance, or in a supply chain from each company, you get some measurements for a product, or transfer learning. They may overlap a bit, but not completely. So you learn from the previous observations, you try to predict new, actually learn. First, you learn to predict, and then you mimic this behavior with your machine learning algorithm or with a layer in between of these stakeholders. Here, the central thing, for each of these boxes, you have a different stakeholder. And each of these stakeholders share what they have in a private manner. Either aggregations, sometimes it is about cryptography, blockchain, differential privacy. It is a quite active area of research in these days. So we are trying to find the best possible configuration. And our share is in the domain of food safety. These are a list of, as a high-level point, there isn't many studies, only a couple of them, mostly just use cases. We have found 5 or 6 of them. The data sets are either small or just about one single modality. Yeah, this is the whole space actually. Although federated learning, if you search for it, you may find it is the first paper, the name that names it actually was published in 2016. And since then, we found 50 studies. So it is relatively less active. But in the generic domain, in the computer science domain, you can come across thousands of studies, or in other domains. So while it is promising, we find that the data sharing regulations may help, or collaboration, and we are working on contributing in this line in HoliFood and some other projects. Mostly we have cross silo, so we rarely from the sensors cross device if you have sensor data, but there is only a couple of them. Main line of studies is cross silo. It is about horizontal data. So the vertical federated learning isn't studied because companies, stakeholders rarely share data with each other, rather not. This is, I already said, so I'm looking I want to leave some time for questions maybe. These are the promising venues for research and actually what we observe in HoliFood project as well. So we want to facilitate this process, at least to prove how useful it is. And after this successful implementations, we think companies, the data owners will be willing more to share. We are working to understand how the regulations or necessities, like trying to highlight it. We are publishing our results pretty soon in this line. In HoliFood, as I just mentioned, we have been in contact about the possibilities with our partners. We have the data now, we have the partners. So immediate next step is to make it running and proving, at least measuring, even if it is not proven, to see where it works, where it doesn't work. That is it. And for any comment or question, you can always reach me. Sorry, I forgot to put my email address, but I hope I have a recognizable name.